Okay, so on both the fixed and removable roof panels I want to score grooves on one side, which will then become the inside of the roof. So just put one of those out of the way, and then take your ruler and just make pencil marks across each end, 10mm, and that's 25/64 of an inch across. So just do a little mark like that, and then move the ruler down to the bottom and do the same thing again, like that, and then turn the piece lengthways and place your ruler so it's just below the pencil marks, and that just allows for the thickness of your screwdriver. And I'm using a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to just be using the very sort of corner of the tip to score the groove. So hold your ruler firmly and just begin by doing a light score along the edge of the ruler, and that will just help to keep the screwdriver on track. And then you can just go across again, this time just going a little bit deeper. And just make a groove like that. So you want to go all the way across, and then when you get down to the probably when you get halfway, turn it around, and then your ruler isn't going to sort of rock off the edge of the piece. Okay, so once you've been all the way across, take one of your small pieces of sandpaper, just make a fold, and then just work that along each groove, and that just smooths up the edges and just makes a nice rounder groove. Okay, so do that with both roof pieces, and then take the roof ridges, they're both the same size, and take one of them and make a pencil mark 5mm or 13/64 of an inch from one long edge. So make a mark there, move the ruler down to the bottom, make a further pencil mark, and then join those up. So that was 5mm, 13/64 of an inch. Join them up, and then take the remaining ridge and we're going to join that along that top edge closest to that pencil line we've just made, like that. So apply glue along the long edge, like that, and then press those together. And then this is where a spare piece of 5mm strip comes in handy again. So you can just press them together, and that's not only sort of pressing the glued pieces together but also bringing it up into an upright position. So press nice and hard on there, and just remove that excess glue. Like that. And then apply glue now below this pencil line, so along the wider part, like that. So with the grooved side facing upwards. In fact, I'm just going to use that, place the other one just below your ridge, and that will just level it off, and then attach your removable roof panel, and you want it to sit just below that pencil line. So you can just see the pencil line there. Put it down that side a bit, like that, and then press that down, like that. And then I'm just going to pop a clip at either end of that. One at this end as well. Okay, and then just remove the excess glue from along there. And that's our removable panel. Now I'm going to leave that to dry overnight. Okay, so the window surround pieces are now dry, and I've already dry fitted them, and there was just a little bit of trimming to do on a couple of the pieces to make them fit. So do that first. And then on this we're gluing wood to wood, so you can go back to using your wood glue. So apply glue along the unpainted edge, unvarnished edge. And then that's going straight up at the top there. So push it into place and then squeeze them together. And then do the bottom one. Bit of a tighter fit, that one. And then on these side ones, again you're sticking it to that side lip there. And then with the central ones, just apply a dot of glue to the top and bottom of the strip. And then the unvarnished edge will go towards the acetate, so it's sort of back to back with the outside divider. Make sure they're really lined up, otherwise you'll be able to see it from the outside. You'll be able to see the unvarnished wood. So squeeze those together. And then fit the remaining pieces. The final piece in there. And then just take a clean cocktail stick and remove any excess glue, like that. Okay, so I've just turned the shed there onto its side to make it easier to get the window ledge in. So apply glue along all of these back edges, and then glue that into place so it's sitting centrally in there. And you can judge that by just leaving an even overhang at either side of about 3mm or 1/8 of an inch. And I'm sort of budging that up right against the bottom of that lower frame. And again, use your spare cocktail stick to remove any excess glue. Okay, so for the roof panels we're going to be using a mixture of emulsion paint and sand in equal parts, and we'll mix that in a moment. But first of all, just begin using your emulsion paint and go along each long edge of each roof panel, and it's just easier to do that before they're in situation. So take which is to be the fixed roof panel, and remember the inside is the side that we've scored the grooves on. Apply glue to the edges of the roof. And when you're doing this, make sure that your removable panel is in and that your sides are pushed together so that we've got a nice square shed. And then attach the panel so the top here is level with this apex, so that goes up like that, and that you've got an even overhang at either side. So there should be, I think it's about 3mm overhanging at each end. And press that all down, and hold until you can feel the glue start to take. And I'm just going to grab some masking tape. I'm going to put some over each side to really pull that down. And again, you can never use too much tape, so secure it in as many places as you can. I've got 3 pieces at each end there, and I'm just going to put some more straight over the top here. Like that. Pull it nice and tight. And I'm going to put some around this side as well to really pull that down along that edge. Like that. If the tape pulls any of the varnish off, that's okay, we can touch that in again. We've got a lot more varnishing to do. Okay, so that can now be left to dry. Okay, so in this pot I've mixed 3 of these teaspoons full of emulsion paint and 3 teaspoonsful of sand, and I've mixed them together really well. You can see it's got a nice sort of gritty texture, and as that stands, the sand goes to the bottom, so keep stirring it as you're working with it to make sure that the sand's evenly distributed. And then I keep a paintbrush solely for when I'm using this sort of sand mixture. It's gone a little bit hard at the end, but it works fine with this. And then I find that if you kind of stipple it on rather than brushing it on, the sand distributes more evenly. If you brush it, the sand just sort of goes into clumps, so try and stipple it on. Make sure you get right along that ridge. And these ends will be covered, so don't worry about them. In fact, if there's any paint on there, we can sand that off once it's completely dry. A bit of a messy old job, but very satisfying too. This can be used for brickwork. Sand mixed with white paint makes a nice coating for sort of like a seaside building or something like that. Trying to work it into that join there. And then once you're done, just look at that from all angles to make sure that it's all completely covered and there's no sort of bare wood patches showing through. A bit much on there. And that can then be left to dry. And then I don't want to paint the fixed roof yet, so I'm just going to cover this in some cling film. And then that will keep until we're ready to use it. Okay, so the fixed roof panel has now dried, but I'm just leaving the masking tape on for a little bit longer while I work on the inside. So take the internal roof support and apply glue along one sort of wider edge. And you have to get this in at the right angle because it's a bit of a tight fit, so try and sort of get it below the struts. And we're going along the top of that sort of varnished wall there, put as high up to the roof as you can get it. So push it flat along that back wall, put as close to the roof as you can, so you're pushing sort of back and down. Like that. Support it from the outside. And what this will do is, as well as sort of supporting the structure, making it stronger, is cover up any gap you might have along the back of that roof. You don't want any daylight coming in there. So press that down and use your spare strip to remove, spare cocktail stick, sorry, to remove the glue. And now we're going to attach the struts, internal roof struts, and I want to put one centrally, and I'm not measuring, I'm just doing this by eye for part of it. So if you use your smaller rule, sort of like a set square, so if you pop that flat along that bottom of that strip and then glue that, you know that you've got a straight edge. So again, apply glue to one long edge, and then I'm roughly in the centre of that pane until level with that central bracket there. Push that down. Removing the excess glue because I'm going to be varnishing this roof. Side as well. And then I'm going to place the ruler sort of in the centre now of this window pane. And place another one there. Again, using my ruler as a set square. And then I want another one in the centre of that pane. So same thing again. Like that. And then they can be left to dry, and then we can varnish the inside of the roof. Okay, so while the internal roof parts are drying, I'm going to varnish the other side of the removable roof panel as well. So I've just sanded along each side just to remove any of the textured paint. Okay, so once the varnish has dried on the inside of the roof, we can finish painting the outside of the roof panel. And when you're doing that varnishing on the inside, just remember to paint along these edges of the roof as well, and along the long edge above the window, and at the other end as well. And then if your textured paint has been standing, don't forget to give that a good stir before you use it, just to make sure that that sand is mixed in well. Okay, so while the roof is drying, we can prepare the roof end pieces. So begin by cutting a tiny corner from one end of each of the roof ends, the longer and the shorter ones, just like that. And then again, take a piece of your fine grade sandpaper, and you can just round that off, and round off that bottom corner as well, just makes it look a little bit neater. So do that on each piece, and then to make the diamond you just want to make a pencil mark in the centre on each edge of the piece. At top and bottom. And on each side as well. There, and then you just want to cut away each corner section, so line the ruler up just below those marks you've just made, just to allow for the thickness of the blade. Begin with a light score, and you can go a little bit deeper till you cut through, holding really firmly onto the ruler there. And then once you've prepared all of those pieces, they all need to be painted or varnished, and you'll need to do that on both sides because both sides will be visible when they're in place. Okay, so once the varnish on the roof end pieces is dried, we're going to attach them to the roof, and we're going to start by attaching them to the removable roof panel. So apply glue along one end of the roof panel, and then take the longer of the strips, and so that the corner we cut away is at the top, we're going to attach it so that the roof is sitting centrally behind the strip, and that the strip comes to the end of the sort of slanted bit at the end there. So I'll just stick that into place and I can turn it around and show you better what I mean. Let's turn that over like that. So the roof is sort of sitting centrally in the middle of the strips. You've got a bit hanging over on the underside and along the top edge there. Place that better there. And then this end is just at the end of the sort of lip. The end here is level with the lip there. Press that down. I'm just going to press that against the worktop to get the glue to begin to take. And then we can do the same again at the other end. Okay, and that piece can be left just to dry off for a moment. Okay, so once the glue on those has dried off a bit, you can put the panel into place, so that just slots nicely there over the edge of the fixed panel, and then apply glue along the edge of the fixed panel, being careful not to get it onto any part of the removable panel. Like that. And then take the shorter strip, and we're going to place that again so that the edge of the roof is sort of halfway sitting in the middle, and so that this corner just meets up with the corner of that top piece. And press that into place like that, and then turn it around and remove any excess glue from along that back edge. And then we want to do the same again along this back edge. So again, just along the side of the fixed panel. Like that. Again, making sure that your cut off corner is at the top. And the two sort of corners of the pieces are meeting there at the top. Press that into place. And once you've got that positioned, you can remove the removable panel, just so that nothing sticks together that shouldn't stick. And again, just leave that to dry off for a moment. Okay, and then put the removable panel back into place and apply a little bit of glue just to the top of that strip. This is where we're going to put our diamond. And then place it so it sits centrally, sort of over the join, and you can judge it by placing it centrally above the door. And again, press that into place. Once you're happy with the position, you can remove the panel and just press that down and remove the excess glue. Once that's dry, you can replace it again and do the diamond at the other end exactly the same way. Okay, so now the roof is done. There's just one more thing to do on the outside for now, and that's to fit a handle to the door. And I'm just using this pewter pull handle, which has a keyhole there at the bottom. And these can be attached just using the wood glue. And these are available in my Etsy store. So just apply a little blob of glue to the back there. And I'm using tweezers to position this because it's quite fiddly. Move the roof there. Just in that first panel, and just above the centre probably, like that. I'm just going to open the door and press that into place. Once that's dried off a little bit, I'll use a cocktail stick to remove the excess glue. Okay, so for the floor of the shed, I just want it to look like a concrete block. And to do that, I'm going to use a piece of card, so thin card, and this is just from the back of a lined paper pad. And I'm going to use the same technique that we used for the roof with the textured paint. Now, if I can just show you my writing shed, which I've got down here, which I've been building sort of simultaneously as we've gone along. And because I used a lighter paint for the outside, I used a lighter paint as well for the roof. Used the same technique but just used a pale grey, just mixed a lot of white with the black until I was happy with the colour. And I've made extra of that, and that's what I'm going to use for the concrete floor. So I'll just pop that back down there. And to make the template for the floor, I cut a piece that measures the whole surface area, so you can just do that by measuring underneath, and then snip out your 3mm squares at each corner along the front edge. That's 1/8 of an inch, and then just pop that in along that edge, and then you can just get in there with your pencil and just make pencil marks around those door frame sides, and then snip those out as well. Again, they're about 3mm thick, 1/8 of an inch. So snip those out like that, and then just fold those up to check that you've sort of cut away in the right area. And just slot that in again. And then that's sort of okay, but if it feels sort of tight, which it does along this back edge, then you can just take it out again and trim a bit off. And just sort of keep adjusting it until you're happy with the fit. Let's just slot in there nice and easy. Yep, that's a nice fit there. And then the other thing you need to check is that you can still open the door. So obviously you need a card that's thin enough to lay under that door. So you're looking really for under 1mm or 1/32 of an inch thick. And then there's the sort of textured paint on top of that. So make sure you've got plenty of room there under the door. Okay, so take that out again. Okay, so I've secured the card to my painting sheet with masking tape at each corner, and that will also help it stay flat as the paint begins to dry. And this has again been standing for quite a while, so I've given it a good old stir. And then I'm going to apply that again using the stippled effect. There. And that can now be left to dry. So once the flooring sheet has dried, carefully remove it from the paper and apply glue to the back. Now use your spreader to spread that around. Make sure you get it right up to the edges, and then you can carefully put that into place. Don't want to get the glue on the walls. press it into the corners. Make sure it's pressed flat all the way around. And then what you can do is just lay some scraps of wood in there, right against the corners. Got another small piece there. And then again you can use some books to weigh that down and press it against the floor there, like that, and leave that to dry. And there is the completed shed. And even Conker has come to have a look at the finished piece. I think she's got her eye on it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this project. It's been a long one, but I think you'll agree it's been worth it. If you have enjoyed it, please do subscribe to the channel, as I'll be adding lots of videos for things to go inside, including a workbench, which we'll probably start off with, and then lots and lots of miniatures to fill the shed. And if there's anything in particular you'd like to go inside your shed, let me know, and I'll add a tutorial. In the green shed, which I'm calling my writing shed, I've done a wooden flooring, a strip flooring, and I'll be adding a tutorial to show you how I did that separately. And if you enjoy making models and miniatures, please do have a look at my books. I've published 3 of them so far, and they're all available to purchase through Amazon, so I'll pop a couple of links below. And for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.